Welcome to the Earn More, Stress Less podcast with me, Caro Syson, and my co-host for this season 2, Hayley Hudson. This podcast is for self-employed business owners just like you who really want to grow their business and become successful and profitable and without all the stress and hassle. We want to share over 50 years of our business experience to show you how simple it can be to earn more money and how you can get organised without needing a business degree or any other qualification. We'll be talking about the easy steps that you can put in place right now to start earning more money today and to help you get the business that you deserve and dream of. So without further ado, let's get started. This week's podcast is sponsored by Pocket PA, helping self-employed business owners to get organised, understand their finances and do their accounts all in one place using a powerful online tool. If you're serious about making a profit and having a successful business, then using a simple digital app like Pocket PA is the best way to grow and scale your business. Visit pocketpa.com for more details and start managing your money like a pro today. Hello and welcome to the Earn More, Stress Less podcast with me, Caro Syson, and my wonderful co-host, Hayley Hudson. Hi, Hayley.
Hi.
This week, Hayley and I are going to be covering planning and goal setting for new business owners and also for more established business owners. Don't worry, we are covering you as well. And I think when we talk about goals and planning and that sort of thing, I don't think it's just money and financial goals that we should be looking at. Goals can also be around lots of other things. I think around your time, having more freedom, work-life balance, time with your kids, your partner and your friends. What are your thoughts on goal setting, Hayley? Are they always just financial or do you have other sort of goals that you put in place?
I think you have to be really careful not to just have financial goals in place because you just end up chasing money. And also you need to work out what those financial goals mean. So whenever I'm setting goals with myself or my business, with my team, I do try and do it with my family as well. My son's actually better at it than my husband, believe it or not. At 5, he's got a vision board. Honestly, it's a thing. He had one at 3.
Love that.
I know. But I think for a vision board or for goal setting with me, I'm quite a visual person. So I like to have written goals, but I also like to have a vision board so that I'm really clear of what I want to achieve. I think have a combination of personal and business ones, and also make sure that your business ones and your financial ones lead into your personal. So, okay, you might want to earn an extra £10,000 this year. What is it for? What does that mean for you personally? So it might be that you want to put a deposit on a house or whatever it is. I think it's really important. Lead with the personal goal and create the financial and business ones around that. And it will just give you more motivation to stick to it. Whereas if you just keep hitting all these big targets, you can sometimes just get lost in the chase to the summit. Actually, I myself did this personally, and you've missed everything that you've actually achieved along the way. So yeah, really important to tie these personal ones.
I think it's about tying it back to remembering your why you started your business in the first place. So why did you begin? I think you need to try and reconnect with that, get back to your original motivation on starting your business. Was it to be flexible around your young family? Did you want to choose your hours and grow your idea into something that you've always dreamt of? Perhaps you were moving it from, a hobby into something where you were earning your income. Maybe you started your business because you were escaping a job that you actually hated. Maybe you were in corporate or working for somebody else and you didn't enjoy it and you had a vision and a dream to do something yourself. I think maybe it's a bit of all of those things. Very rarely are your goals just about the money.
It's normally freedom. Most people go into business wanting freedom and all we get is a lot of work. So I think when it comes to goal setting, remember that freedom that you set out to achieve, because if you don't factor that in, if you don't factor the extra holidays, you won't end up with any of that. You'll just end up with a hell of a lot of work.
I think people don't want to give up or stop a 40-hour employed role for an 80-hour self-employed role, which can happen if you're not focusing on things and being mindful of how you're spending your time. And I think you're absolutely right. Freedom and your time allocation is a really, really important aspect. So with goal setting, I think a lot of people have probably heard of SMART goals, where they're specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. And I think those SMART goals help business owners set clear and actionable objectives. But I've been to lots of workshops where they say, oh, we don't use SMART goals, we use this, and they have another acronym or whatever. And that always makes me laugh because there's, they don't like SMART goals because they think that they've come up with another snazzy name for different goals. But I think it is important when you're talking about your goals, that they are very specific. The more specific you make them, the easier it is to focus on them. And you need to make sure that they're measurable, as in, like, have I achieved them? What will have to happen in order for me to know that I've reached that goal? And if they're not achievable, if you're setting something just too ginormous that you're never going to make it, you're going to lose motivation. You're going to sort of give up, and then that's not going to make you feel good. So I think it's really important that you do focus on certainly some important aspects of those SMART goals. But what are your goals? I mean, how are you defining them? How are you articulating them? How are you measuring them, and evaluating them? A lot of people open their workbook on the 1st of January and think, oh, I'm going to have some goals for this year. I'm going to earn X amount. I'm going to, do Y in January, February, March, or whatever. And they write them down in January and they don't look at them again until December the 31st. And then it's like, oh God, I didn't make that. And what have they been doing in that interim period to make sure that they're staying on track? And that was one of the things that I noticed was happening with small business owners that I was working with. And that was what motivated me to put a goal setting feature into Pocket PA. And we measure 5 metrics inside Pocket PA, and they're not just income related. I mean, we do measure one for your turnover, which is your income. We do one that's related to your profit. So that's the money that's left over once you've taken off your expenses from your income. But we also did one on hours and appointments. And the beauty of using it in Pocket PA is that it shows you in real time each and every day. Every time you open Pocket PA, it shows you how well you're going against the metrics that you want to track. So I think it's important that you break down your larger goals. So if, for example, your goal is to earn £50,000 this year, what does that mean you need to earn each month? What does that mean you need to be earning on average each week? And I think it's important that you track what's going on each week and each month so that you can see whether you're going to actually be hitting that target. And you need to have feedback as to whether you're on track or not, depending on where you are in the month. So in Pocket PA, we've got a little arrow which tells you, based on the fact that you're 50% of the way through the month, you should have earned X amount based on your annual, monthly and weekly goals. So it tells you whether you need to get some more appointments booked in, or whether you can actually take a day off that week because you're doing super well on your financial goal setting. So I think that's one of the aspects of, you need to be measuring and having specific, achievable, relevant goals, which are in a set period of time. What are your thoughts on those SMART goals, Hayley?
I think they're really powerful. We use them a lot. I think the main thing is, for me, if I can make one sort of mind-blowing point, don't always just focus on the financials. So for me, with the 50,000 example, that can feel really intimidating to a lot of business owners and think, oh my God, I'm never, ever going to get that. But actually, break that down, as Caro's already said, into a smaller number for your monthly amount, and then break it down into actually treatments. So figure out how many treatments that might be. So it might be, I don't know, let's say it might be 40 treatments to get that extra £1,000 in that month, and then break it down weekly and daily. So it might actually be that all you need to do is do an extra conditioning mask on 3 clients every day, or it might just be an extra retail product that's, you're selling 2 retail products in the morning, 2 retail products in the afternoon. Whatever it might be, break it down into tangible products, tangible services, and break it down into a daily target. Because I always think, well, as the saying says, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. That's exactly how you do it. So if you've got an annual target of like £50,000, just break it down. What does that mean? How many treatments do I have to do each day to get that target? And you'll be amazed what incredible results you can get when you just focus on your daily little bite-sized targets.
Yeah, I've actually got an income calculator that helps with this. So you can go onto the pocketpa.com website and click on the income calculator. And just by inputting what you would like to earn that year, and then also I think it asks you how many weeks holiday you might want to take and what the average amount of one of your services is, it will then tell you exactly how much you need to earn each week and each month and how many services you need to deliver. So you can get some idea of how many appointments you need to do. And then if you increase that by just say 1 or 2 of your services per week, you can actually see what an impact that can also make on your monthly and annual income, which I think is a game changer, because once you see how all the levers work, it enables you to sort of realize that it's not so unachievable, those big goals, which might sound huge when you're just starting out, you know, to jump from 30,000 to 40,000 or 40,000 to 60,000. You know, it is actually just small tweaks quite often. And it might mean that, you know, one evening a week you work late and do an extra 2 to 3 clients. It may be that you can charge an extra higher price because you're offering a peak time appointment. So you might be able to leverage your sort of earning capacity by by charging a little bit more. But it's actually these small, insignificant, they seem insignificant at the time, these small repeatable things that you're doing on a regular basis, these baby steps that you do each and every day. And I often say the magic is in the mundane. It's these small things that we do that might not seem to make a big difference, but they actually have a huge, remarkable impact on your overall position, on your finances. And, you know, just as they can grow to your advantage, so can missing appointments or just not bothering when somebody misses an appointment because they've forgotten an appointment. Those can also detrimentally impact your business. So I think, you know, in another episode, we'll be talking about maximizing your earning capacity, but just making sure clients turn up, making sure you have policies and procedures in place for missed and forgotten appointments, because, you know, just as one extra appointment per week can really impact your overall cash flow and your overall income earning capacity, so can regular missed appointments, 1 or 2 every single week that you just let slide. If you tighten up on those sorts of things, those can also impact your overall earning capacity. The other thing I think about goal setting, which I think we should touch on today, is about being helpful to set both personal and professional goals. I think when you just have professional goals, such as acquiring new skills, expanding your knowledge in specific areas, or achieving extra qualifications, I think, you know, those are great. But I think investing in yourself personally, I think there's no better way to spend your money. And I often use an example of a photocopier. And if you go to visit somebody and they had this photocopier in the corner of their room and it was just printing money on a regular basis, you know, every day, every week, every month, day in, day out, overnight, it was just continuing to print this money. You would just be looking after that photocopier so well. If you had a power cut and it impacted and you weren't printing your money, if you ran out of paper, if you ran out of resources, you didn't have the ink and you weren't servicing that photocopier and it was going to impact its production of this cash, this money that it was printing out, you would be jolly well looking after that photocopier in the corner. Well, guess what? You are that photocopier. You are the money-making machine. So you need to be thinking about investing in yourself and making sure that you are looking after yourself and having goals to make sure that you, as the photocopier, aren't going to break down. So that's not just making sure that you are full of ink with regards to qualifications and certification and all of those professional things, but it's making sure that you have enough sleep, that you have enough the right food, exercise, diet, mental energy and health, and you have good health. So I think it's important that you have, both work goals, which are your professional goals, but also personal goals to make sure that you're looking after yourself in its entirety. Does that resonate with you at all, Hayley?
It sure does. You do. You absolutely need to look after yourself personally and bring fun into your life. I mean, gosh, when I first set up my business, I remember having 2 weeks off a year for a few years and it was miserable. I definitely wasn't the best version of myself. Okay, I had a lot of debt when I set up in business through setting up the business. When I set up my salon, we renovated the whole building. So that took a lot of finance. So I had to pay that off in 2 years. So I didn't have a holiday. And I was sick, I was ill, I was working when I was ill. It was quite miserable. I mean, I did it, but it was miserable. And we do go through those periods in business where you do have to just get stuck in. But had I have put in there some personal goals as well, then maybe my mental health would have been a better state, and I'd have been more resilient, and I'd have been able to maybe, who knows, it might have taken me a little bit longer, or I might have actually got there a little bit quicker. But, during that period, I didn't invest in myself at all. And I think that's really detrimental. I think can become quite resentful as well in business, long term. Short term, okay, you're getting your head down, you're getting some finances in or whatever. But actually, if you do that for a prolonged period, it's like starving your body. You end up not eating well, like you said, you end up not having time to exercise. There's so many people who I come into contact with about mentoring, and they reach out to me and I tell them all about it. And like, I just don't have time. I'm like, but you can't use that. If you don't have time, then it's even more important that you do this so that we can work together to make sure that you do have the time. You should have the time for yourself. You need to have the time to live. At the end of the day, we all need to work. I understand that we need to pay bills, but at the same time, it needs to be the fuel that powers this beautiful life that we have. You only get one shot at life, and it is really important that you use your business as a tool to make that better, not something that's draining the lifeblood out of your family, your relationships, your health, your sleep, whether or not you're drinking too much. We can go on and get deeper into this. Businesses can be really tough, and I think as part of a bigger picture, you absolutely need to concentrate on personal goals. It's even if you just want to learn how to ride a horse.
That's very random. I love that.
Or you want to learn how to do, I don't know, a different class at the gym. Just getting out there and doing something that you always wanted to do. Think about it. When you were a kid, what did you always want to learn how to do? Was it ice skating? Was it something, okay, maybe not ice skating, you might break your wrist. Hey, let's not talk about that. But anyway, but whatever it is, something that brings you joy. I'm a big believer, in feeding your soul as well. And I think you get much better results in life if you're aware of that. I certainly do that much more nowadays than I used to. And it's really important. It's so powerful.
And I think, on the professional goals, you very much talk about how essential it is to invest in business education, not just technical learning to grow your business. Just elaborate a bit more on that, Hayley.
Yeah, certainly, definitely. I mean, I think it can be quite there's a bit of a roadblock, I think, towards business education. I see it all the time. You can go and do a look and learn class, whether it be lashes, hair, something like that. People will pay. I've seen some of them, well, thousands of pounds, but some of them, let's say 300 and something to 600 and something pounds to stand there and watch somebody for half a day do a thing that you're not even getting your hands on. And then you think, oh, well, can I pay £500 on business education? That sounds too much, because it's not quantified. It's not measurable, is it? It's not tangible. You don't come away with it with a visible skill. But actually, those sessions can, I did a session with somebody the other day and we actually mapped out something to double their income, double their profits, in a 3-hour session. We completely mapped out the whole year strategy, and she'd learned so many different skills. And, people underestimate that. I mean, when I work with my clients, you can work with me. You can have a freebie, if you don't want to spend any money, that's fine. Come along. I've got loads and loads of free resources. If you want to spend a little bit of money, dip your toe in, I've got things for like £27 for an ebook that will teach you how to make loads more money. If you want a strategy day, you can, go a little bit more in there. You can spend £400, £500, or you can, have a full-on mentorship, which is anything from a couple of grand right up to 10 grand. So there's something for every budget. You don't have to be turned cold thinking, oh, I can't afford that. Build your way up to it, but just be mindful of, don't keep buying endless classes of another service, because if you don't have the confidence or the skill set to run your business properly, to enforce the policies, to stop the cancellations, to put your prices up, to work the hours that you want, to be boundaried, doesn't really matter what course you go on. It's not going to grow you inside. It really isn't. It's a completely different type of learning. So, it's so important.
Yeah. And sometimes having a mentor just to work alongside, to keep you accountable, to keep you on track, just to help you focus, to be you're sort of holding your hand in your business. I don't think you can underestimate that when you are working solo. It's really important, because if you aren't self-disciplined, or you're not sure where to start, and you're not able to get yourself going, then you can often just be thrashing around. And as you say, just doing lots of courses. I call them shelf help. You just do another course and you just pop it on the shelf, and you don't actually implement it or action it or do anything with it. And we don't need more shelf help. We actually need to do something, drill down, put it into action, get confident with it, and start earning money from it, get a return on investment. investment and ROI. And those sorts of the goal setting that you could do with a mentor are really powerful. So if you're not using a tool and you're not sort of holding yourself accountable, I think then it's a really good avenue to have a look at a business mentor or a coach, whatever it is that that you feel more comfortable calling them or whatever, because I think you do need to have goals in your business. You're not in an employed role in a company where they're often got KPIs. Or they've got appraisals or regular reviews with you to be able to move up the corporate chain. You are literally solo, and you have to, implement all those things yourself and have your own framework and plans and goals and dreams. And as we said, they're not just financial. You need to be having fun in your business. You need to be setting yourself and rewarding yourself for things that you're doing and achieving. Because at the end of the day, you're right. We only live once. It's your life, your way, your terms, your business, your clients, and you can have it look however you want it to do. And I think we will all be much more motivated and invested if we're having more fun in our businesses. And, it comes down to that work-life balance, why you set it up in the first place. So if you can have goals that are related to work-life balance and well-being to prevent this burnout, I love it that we're talking much more about mental health and putting a huge emphasis on that to maintain our overall health and happiness. I think we need to be looking at automation processes, set and forget things, to be able to steal and grab back our time so that things can happen without your input. So anything in your business which you can automate and leverage your time, that you don't need to do those boring, mundane tasks. The things that we set up in Pocket PA, like the appointment reminders, being able to do online bookings where clients can book themselves in. I think those are really important things that we focus on, and those should be bare minimum goals that we have in our business, to replace ourselves with automated tasks that technology can take care of, that we don't need to busy our busy brains and minds and time with. I think it's really important. And I think, establishing boundaries between work and personal life. I think it's important to have designated working hours, scheduling regular breaks, prioritizing your self-care activities. These are things that we should have as goals to make sure that we are doing them, and checking in with ourselves that we're actually enforcing them and implementing them, because nobody's coming to save you. Nobody's going to come and say, oh, you didn't take a break this morning and that's why you're grumpy this afternoon. You've got to regulate yourself, and it can be difficult and require a lot of self-discipline. And it's good to chat with other people in your space and find out what they're doing and tackling those sorts of things. And I think it's important that we all talk more as small business owners to find out how other people are managing their goals and that sort of thing. Because at the end of the day, we all want to spend more time probably doing our own hobbies and spending time with families, because we need to recharge, really. And the last goal that I was thinking about, which is much more your area, where you create sustainable and ethical business models, that's something that I don't know an awful lot about. But I think when we set goals that are related to sustainability, environmental responsibility, ethical business practices, I think it can then make an overall huge impact positively on our community and the planet. When we have goals for reducing our waste, making sure that we've got eco-friendly practices in our salon or studio, I think that's something that we should all be thinking about much more. And I love it that the next generations are much more eco-friendly. But what's happened in your salon? I'm sure you've probably had to address this, Hayley. What have you done in your salon regards those sorts of goals?
Yeah, so when we first opened in 2009, this was quite a new thing. It wasn't much of a buzzword back then. So when we'd opened, the things that I led with was honesty, sustainability and integrity. That was really important to me, mainly because I am super, super honest. If ever you work with me, I'm like, why have you not done the thing? Why have you not done it? And then I'm like, right, okay, let's do it. So there's no BS with me. It's like, why are we not doing it? So when I started my salon, it was really hard actually to be sustainable. So now you've got places that will take your waste and do it all for you. Whereas back in the day, the main things for me were sourcing ethical product brands. So we were vegan friendly, we were cruelty free. In my salon now, because I have allergies, we're gluten free, we have dairy free options. So we're quite an allergen friendly salon. We're very aware of that sort of thing. So we can, not only does that help make the customer experience better from feeling safe if you do have allergies, but again, going back to sustainability. So we have had all sorts of things over the years. So we, even before people were sending the hair off, we used to have people from the local allotments that used to come and pick up the hair. So we collect that for them. We've collected it for artists. We're always really keen on finding different ways for people to be able to use some of our things. We used to have a big bin for the foils. I say used to, we still do. I don't know why I'm saying we used to. We still have a big bin for the foil, so we send that off to the recycling separately. We try and reduce our single-use plastics. We have eco heads at the backwash, which are amazing if you've not used them. We've had them, like I say, we've had them since they first came out, but they not only filter the water, but they increase the pressure, and they also reduce how much water consumption there is. I think it's up to 50%, so it's quite significant. There's initiative by Vish now, which is in the hairdressing world. There's some scales that you can use which weigh out the products for you. It also saves all your colour notes, which is fantastic, time saving when it goes back into automation. Why keep working harder, just work smarter? So with Vish, they're amazing because they reduce your wastage, so which obviously as well boosts your profits, because most of the colour in the salons is often going down the drain when people aren't mixing it properly. So there's quite a lot of things that you can do, whether it comes to, you know, changing how you have your heating on with the brands that you use. Just there's so many different ways in which, and it doesn't have to be expensive. I suppose my point is, what I'm trying to say is, like, with giving the hair away to the allotments, doesn't have to be expensive. And if you're a one-man band, it's quite easy for you to just bag your hair up, you know, between houses and between visits, and take it with you and give it to somebody that would use it, or use it in the garden or something like that. I mean, we'll pop in the links and the show notes. We can maybe get some of the resources that we can put in there in terms of different brands, and definitely Vish. I've actually got a discount code for them. So we'll pop all that in the show notes. So if anybody's interested in how to make their salons, or, you know, in their businesses more sustainable, we can pop some stuff down there. And there's loads you can do.
Yeah, that's perfect. Gosh, I didn't know any of those things, so that's really handy. So I think, just to sum up today's podcast, planning and goal setting is really about connecting your original why you began your business with your sort of future vision of where you want the business to go, where you're going, where you want to get to, what's on your vision board. And you need to be setting goals in place, putting them in place for the next 3, 6, 12 months, really to enable you to make progress towards your dreams. If you're not doing that, it's just going to feel like Groundhog Day. So do check out Pocket PA. It's got this amazing goal setting feature. You can track and measure your time, your time and your money and that sort of thing every time you open it. This is going to give you a roadmap for success. It goes way beyond just financial goals. You're going to get personal fulfillment, personal growth, and the ethical responsibility by setting the right goals for your business. So both personal and money goals, really important aspect of your business. I hope you've enjoyed this episode with Hayley and I. We will catch up with you again in a week's time. So until then, have a wonderful week, whatever it is you're doing. Thank you so much for listening today to the Earn More, Stress Less podcast with me, Caro Syson, and my co-host, Hayley Hudson. If you've enjoyed this week's episode, then do hit subscribe so we can catch up again soon. And please kindly leave a review if you've got a moment, and share with anyone else that you think this podcast could help on their self-employed journey. If you're ready to make bigger breakthroughs in your business life and want to get way more organised and understand your finances the really simple way, then start your very own 14-day free trial today using the super powerful software tool Pocket PA that I made for my own son and daughter. Go to pocketpa.com/podcast and let's get you on the way to earning more money and stressing much less. Have a great week, whatever you're doing.